death certainly makes you aware of being alive and what it's about. Not sure how this video is going to go for me. I am doing it in part as a way of helping people understand this end-of-life process, doing it as a way of saying goodbye. I started with hospice in August because of a rare neurological disease that I have that's terminal and a rare cancer. I practiced as a nurse for over 40 years, and over that time I've seen a lot of death. I've seen it come all kinds of ways for people. I've seen most of the calamity that comes from this piece of life, largely around not having had much conversation around it, not spending time kind of planning out that final piece of your life so that you can live. So I've kind of followed a different track for myself that I knew a long time ago from my experiences in life that there was a better way to do it. Most of the suffering around death comes from having not planned for it. The struggling family and friends, not so much for the person that's leaving, but for those that remain, that there's unfinished things to do, things that hadn't been planned and taken care of, and now they're in a crisis mode, and what that does to not only the family and friends, but what that does to the person that is dying in terms of creating more unnecessary suffering around it. I just wanted to leave something in place that meant something, that was maybe a final contribution as a nurse to this process. I've been a little bit different, a hospice patient, in that I've stayed active, that I've been able to have many good days since starting hospice because I'm able to manage pain better. I've settled most things in my life, so those things aren't hanging on me anymore. More freedom because of that. An opportunity to talk to my friends and family and really say what I feel and what they mean to me. And it's given me, a sense of real freedom and relief. Even before my diagnosis, I had come to a realization that the things that are important in life are how you live each day, how you care for other people, how you care for yourself. I think the best part of my nursing career has been in the last 9 years. I spent a great deal of time out on the streets and in the camps working with our people who are experiencing homelessness. Found that was probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done in terms of career. Meeting people where they are, probably in their worst possible time, and trying to relieve some of their suffering and to try and show them that there are people out that care. One of my doctors asked me one day, what's this feel like? And I said, it feels like incredible peace. I made what almost seemed like a mistake of saying that I felt at times disconnected. Because doctors hear disconnected and they think about depression and mental health, and it's a realistic thing for them to think about. But there's a disconnected that comes from kind of standing back and looking at your life. It's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. You begin to step back and look at your life and life around you and the world around you. And you realize how small you are in all of that, and what's important and what's not important anymore. It becomes much more clear. And it becomes a very peaceful thing. It's not a terrifying thing. And so, I think that's where I'm at. I'm just feeling an incredible amount of peace and freedom that you just don't get to experience until now. In California, we have a law that went into place in 2016 that's the End of Life Option Act. And it allows for you to bring your life to a peaceful conclusion on your own terms. And so I started in hospice and moved towards the end of life option and explored that with my doctors. And have chosen that direction for myself, that the prolonged piece of this conclusion of these two diseases is full of potential for suffering and uncertainty. And I'd rather have some of the control over how that goes. In my 41 years, I've seen huge improvements, if you will, in medicines and technology, and it's so focused to trying to keep people well, and to its extreme, sometimes prolonging life unnecessarily beyond what's realistic to do, in my opinion. And that, a number of my doctors, there's some other things that we can do to make you be comfortable, to give you a little more time. But those things come with their own sets of complications and discomfort and suffering. And so the gain that might come is, to me, not there. You get some more quantity, but you don't get the quality. And I've always wanted some quality in my life. This process is also practicing medicine. It's helping a person in their final time to be comfortable, to find an acceptance of what's to come, to get free of all the things that trap us to this life and hold us here to, get all those things possibly done. And it's just one more, just one more holiday, just one more birthday, just one more, and it goes on forever. It never ends, all the way to the end. It's just one more. And to be free of just one more is pretty healthy. It's they talk about people entering hospice and how sometimes they get into hospice and they've been told they have X number of days, weeks, or months left in their lives, and they hopefully get busy and get the things taken care of that need to be addressed in that time that you have. And they start to feel better because they get those things taken care of. they feel better, they start to live again because they're not suffering, they're not struggling with the life's things, and they go off of hospice, and they do well for a while. And then, because it was, after all, a terminal condition, the time catches up, and they're back in hospice, and then within a relatively short period of time, they're gone. My hospice social worker at one point came with a deck of cards, and these are a special deck of cards that you create. See if I can remember this. You create 3 stacks with these cards. They're the 3 categories are what's least important to you, what's sort of important, and what's the most important thing to you in life. And so you stack these cards, and you finally get to a point where you're reducing it to the 3 most important things to you in this process. And really, for me, the 3 most important pieces were to not suffer through this. You know, I know what, from my years as a nurse, I know what is to come with the neurological condition. I know what can come as a result of the cancer. And those extreme pieces are not what I'm willing to go through. I'm not willing to have somebody have to come here and take care of me. I'm not willing to be in the hospital. I want to be in my own place, taking care of my own self, determining what's the best and most comfortable thing for me to do. And, you know, going out through a process of heavier doses of medications to deal with pain, and ultimately then not being in control of yourself at all, is not something that appeals to me. So the end of life option, you know, is the right choice. I don't have a fear of death and the uncertainties around it. I'm comfortable with it. It's an inevitable piece of all of our lives, and it's a part of life. And so, you know, it's something that I'm prepared for, I think. I'm not in a rush for it. I've had the medicines now for more than a month. I don't have an absolute date planned, but I'm heading in that direction because things, as I've said, have begun to change again for me. Yeah, it's just, it's a more comfortable time now than it would have been. I've got to thank my doctors at the VA here in Sacramento for taking such wonderful care of me and providing me with the opportunity to get care at Stanford with the experts on these 2 diseases. A wonderful primary care doctor and a wonderful surgeon, and you know, my diagnosis for the cancer was on the 20th of this month. December will be 3 years, and I had my surgery February 10th, so coming up on 3 years, and the expectancy was that I might see 5 years, so I've seen 3, and they've been pretty good. Excellent doctors at Stanford, and the new experience with my 2 doctors at UC Davis Medical Center have been brief, but great care. I've learned from them, and they've learned from me. I think the next time through this for them is going to be a little easier. And that's kind of my end game for this video, is that it's about making life easier for the next person. And it's about making life easier for my family and friends. A friend texting me and saying, I don't know how to say goodbye to you, you're still here. An interesting comment to make, you know. We say goodbye to each other when we leave after a visit with a friend. We always say goodbye. I think the sad thing is when you don't take the opportunity to say goodbye, when you don't say the things that are on your mind. You know, to tell a friend or a family member how much they mean to you, when you don't tell somebody that you love them, and you miss the opportunity. So I feel I've lived a pretty fulfilling life. I have two grown sons who are pretty wonderful in their own ways. I love them very much. Married my high school sweetheart and had those two sons with her, and we had a 13-year marriage. You know, people will ask you, why would you want to accelerate the process? You know, why not just do the hospice? Why not just let things go naturally? Well, it really isn't letting things go naturally. You know, I'm taking large doses of methadone and morphine to manage my pain. I'm reluctant to step it up any higher, because if I do, then I'm going to be less able to function, and I want to be able to function to the extent that I can. And so really this end-of-life option in these final medicines at some point is really just a rapid form of hospice. You know, it's again about being comfortable, and it's a very freeing thing to be able to make your own determination to either do it or not do it. You know, I too could change my mind still about it. I doubt that I will, but I could. It's just very freeing to have that option. You know, the conclusion of it is that the karma of it is, it's not either good or bad karma, it's neutral karma. It just is. It's not a wrong. And, you know, it's, people frequently use the word suicide connected to it, and it's very far from that. It's not the same. It's a process. It's not a instant gut response to an emotion that's overwhelmed. It's a thoughtful process.
To the town again, where the air sweet and fresh, in the countryside. Well, it won't be long before be back here again. Well, cloud-headed.
This was well considered. It wasn't just a reflex in action to an emotion. It was looking at the whole picture.